Well, I want to go over something I think could be really important. It's this video. Actually, I would want to see it get around because I'm kind of curious about if this can work and if people want to try this out. And what it is a modified Beck protocol. And I don't know if you heard of Dr. Bob Beck. He's Dr. Bob Beck physicist. And I'll go through the spiel real fast. He basically found a way to apply a patent that was discovered in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine back in the early 90s by medical doctors, Dr. Lyman and Dr. Colley, and other doctors, and they patented this discovery. Basically, there's two patents here. One's in 1993 and 1992, and actually the patent we're probably more in question, need to really look at most, involving AC electricity, is the electrification of blood, patent number 5188738, dated February 25th, 1993. And basically it states in the summary, and I'll just give you in layman's terms, it causes all pathogens, viri, bacteria, and fungi not to be able to infect healthy cells, yet at the same time does not affect other blood cells or bodily fluids in a harmful way. It only basically, it doesn't kill the viruses or bacteria, pretty much. It doesn't do that. It does what it causes them not to be able to infect healthy cells. Now, what happens is, it's actually, if you get into more details, it's between 50 and 95% of viruses are basically rendered ineffective to infect healthy cells for a period of about 24 hours or a little more. That's about what it is. So basically, if it does about half to 95% of them, makes them ineffective to get into healthy cells, the body's got a little bit of time to remove them. Not a lot of time. So basically what you want is a twofold approach. Now I'm leading up to something I think is actually going to be very important. And I'm just, I would like to see, well, people want to try this. I think it's all safe stuff, because first off, this microelectricity is measured in millionths of an amp. You're talking like 100 millionths of an amp. Like, it's ridiculous. It's a tenth of a milliamp. It's very, very small electricity. It's way below a tens units, and yet in the FDA says tens units are safe. So this is like way below a tens unit. But it's a special current, and they use it like it goes back and forth, positive, negative, 4 times a second. Now the thing is, Dr. Beck said, he was a PhD and a physicist. He said not to take any medicines or herbs with this. Just do the protocol, which is the blood electrification for 2 hours, and colloidal silver and ozonated water and a magnetic pulsar to basically move the lymph system around. Now, I'm going to throw something out there because I think it's an idea worth pursuing. First off, the electrification effects don't last like forever. It's like the virus gets kind of screwed up where it can't infect normal healthy cells. It doesn't last forever. It lasts for a little more than a day. So you got to constantly do this over and every day at the same time to basically cause those viri to be ineffective from infecting healthy cells. Now, my theory is on this, if you're really going to make sure, you see, a lot of times they think they don't actually, see, I'm wearing this thing right now. It's an electrification thing. I don't have it on. You can turn it on, you can see the light. It's actually electrifying through one side to the other side. And you put the clip back on, the connection's made. And there's only one place that has a device like this. I'm going to get into why this is important now. But at least it conforms exactly to the Beck Protocol, and that's important. But the biggest part of the Beck Protocol is the blood electrification, according to the patent. Now, they proved that it works. It does make the viruses inactive for a period of maybe 24 hours or a little bit more. But the body has to kill the viruses. Now, the one thing is, what you want to make sure of is like when Beck was doing this, he had this set for 4 hertz. And you can see this light is actually blinking 4 times a second. That's 4 cycles a second, right? At this setting, there's a possibility that when you're taking herbs or medicines, they have a condition called transfection. It doesn't hurt the blood cells, but it just causes the blood cells to be like porous temporarily. So if you're taking herbs or medicines, there's actually a multiplier effect, and it's like taking a heavy dose. It doesn't happen all the time. It actually happens sometimes. So the workaround to that is to use 10 hertz or 40 hertz. Like you could set this device on 40 hertz. And you can see the light looks like it's steady because it's blinking 40 times a second. Now there's only one place that makes this that I know of, and that's in Mike the Texan, the guy from Texas that's down in Ecuador. He sells these down there, and he sells them with this indicator light to make sure you got it hooked up right and you're getting the, he ain't making claims at all. He's just making sure that the device conforms to the patent. The patent itself makes the claims, and the patent makes its claims about a petri dish. It doesn't make it about, I don't know, they did it on humans too, but supposedly it worked. I don't know. But I'm getting on to it with something here because I think it's very important. Basically, there's two sides to this thing. You see, Beck, when he did this, he said 4 hertz. Now, 4 hertz is a little more effective than 40 hertz. But Mike sells a device that's 4 hertz, 10 hertz, and 40 hertz. 4 hertz is the standard Beck setting where it's blinking like this, and only Mike has this device that you see the connection's correct. Like, I actually broke one of the leads because I had this for years, and I just soldered it, but I realized it was not connected because the light wasn't going off. I think that's a super important feature because you want to make sure, if this works, you want to make sure that you're doing it right. So you got an indicator light, you can't screw up. But the 10 hertz setting, there's almost no effect from transfection. There's charts on this. There's scientists that have charts on it. I don't have one in front of me right now, but there is a chart. There's a lot less transfection effect from 10 hertz. Mike mails the Beck device with the 10 hertz setting, 4 hertz setting, and 40 hertz setting. It's got all three. 40 hertz setting might require a little bit more treatment time to get the effect of what the patent says, but there's no effect, there's no transfection. So my point is this: you want to cause the virus not to be able to replicate. The body itself takes it out through the immune system. Now, since you can use 10 hertz, which has very little transfection effect, or if any, or 40 hertz, why not take these herbs then? See, Beck said you wouldn't take any herbs because of the 4 hertz could cause these herbs to be like a multiplier. Why not use these devices on 10 hertz or 40 hertz and take these immune boosting herbs, especially like stuff like green tea, dandelion root, milk thistle, like a detoxer, because you're actually killing pathogens. You want to get rid of the detoxification in your body. It might be, besides the ozonator water, these are very safe things. These are like bee propolis. This supposedly actually kills some viruses. That's, what it says anyway. Like echinacea has been around forever, golden seal root. A lot of people don't know what the hell cat's claw is. I got it listed here twice. But it's been around in Peru for thousands of years. It's been ancient medicine, boosts the immune system, astragalus. You see, the thing is, if you're using a 10 hertz or 40 hertz setting, you're inactivating the virus, and then you're doing this at night, right? You got this hooked up at night. Then during the day, you take the herbs, and you boost the hell out of your immune system. But you don't have to worry about this transfection stuff, where the herbs are actually seeming like you're getting a lot more if you're using the 10 hertz setting or the 40 hertz setting. Now, the other thing I said was to hook this up wrist to wrist and ankle to ankle and use 2 electrifiers. So if you were using this during the night, 2 devices, and you were using the herbs during the day, 2 devices on 10 hertz or 40 hertz, so there's no effect from transfection, I think that would be almost like the Beck Protocol on steroids. Because I heard about this Beck Protocol, sometimes people, in other words, if this shit actually worked, I think it worked with Dr. Beck did it, because he probably set it up right. I think a lot of people are doing it wrong or some shit. But this might be the trick that makes it work. Now, I heard this thing with the blood electrification, like in the case of malaria, and I don't have any studies on it, But it's considered that malaria is like a blood disease. This thing works good against electrifying the viruses in the blood. So against malaria, it's probably really good for that. Now against like diseases like Hep C and HIV, I'm not sure, because that could be all over the place. But probably the most effective way to use this would be in conjunction with the herbs. And the only way you can use the electrification with the herbs is to use the devices that have the 10 hertz and the 40 hertz, either one. You know, if you don't feel any transfection effects on the herbs with 10 hertz, then, you know, use 10 hertz. But the only one that sells these with 10 hertz settings or 40 hertz settings, this is on 4 because it's blinking, like you can put it on. This is a mini one, so it just has 4 and 40. They got full power ones, they got 440, 440, and 10. And the only one that sells these with the indicator light to show that you're getting the exact zapping per the patent, plus the other settings, is down by Dragonfly 75 Mike in Ecuador. And he's not making any claims. I'm just telling you that he makes the device in accordance with the patent with a couple extra features. But I started thinking to myself, you know, the one thing Beck said that you couldn't do was take herbs because you're using this 4 hertz setting, which is like, because it might make the herbs seem too powerful because your blood is temporarily more porous, and it can actually, in some cases, make the herbs get into the blood faster, and it's like you'll get too much of them. But if you have 10 hertz, there's almost like no chance of that, very little chance of that happening. And if you're at 40 hertz, forget about it. You're not going to have that problem at all, but it takes a little more time to use for the device to work. But if you combine that with the herbs, I think you got a Beck Protocol on steroids. Now, I want to say something else about, you know, people get problems with, you know, Hep C and HIV. I don't want to make any judgments here, but, you know, a lot of times it could be because of a general lifestyle, too. I don't want to be judgmental, but or nothing, but, you know, if you're doing stuff to wreck your immune system, I don't think this is even going to work. You got to be like, you know, no drinking, no smoking, no screwing around, no doing drugs, no nothing. And just do the protocol, and it's gone. You know, I think that's the way to deal with it. That's the way to run with it. Now, this video I would like to see get out there a little bit more because I think it's a stellar idea. Because I'd be curious as to, you know, if somebody tried this, you know, device, you know, 10 hertz and 40 hertz. And it's got to be a genuine Beck device. I know there's zappers out there that say 10 hertz and are not even anywhere conforming to Beck's the patent that's over here by Dr. Lyman and Colley. They're not even close to that, you know. But there's something else. And the only place I know you can get these devices where they have the 10 hertz and 40 hertz setting in addition to the 4 hertz setting is down in Ecuador. And I'll put the he's a Texan, right? He's a Texan, honest Texan from America. Honest people get in trouble in America sometimes. Just act as Dr. Royal Rife, you know, the one developer. I'll just throw something here at the end. Developer of the Rife microscope that used. You can look at it through. You can look at live viruses being zapped with different frequencies, and he found ways to use frequencies to zap things and clobber viruses. That was back in the 30s. You know, a lot of these discoveries have been around. Now, if I'm preaching to an audience that has a big sneaking suspicion of the establishment and all this kind of crap in the medical community, they're already convinced. But a lot of people aren't totally convinced that way. I'm going to say this, though. It's not just a conspiracy of the big money or the elite or anything like that. It actually is the average person is the problem. Because the average person wants a quick fix handed to them and they don't want to think. That's exactly how it is. The average person is about instant gratification. How do I fix this right now? You know, that's why people drink. They want to escape reality too sometimes, right? You know, so I mean, the whole thing is with this protocol, assuming it works, you got to actually have a very clean lifestyle too. So, but I think this would be a great modification to the Beck Protocol. I'll just repeat what it is. Use the Beck device, the true Beck device, on 40 hertz or 10 hertz. Okay? Use 2 electrifiers overnight. Ankle to ankle and wrist to wrist. Just to have them set up here, and I have other videos showing how to do it ankle to ankle and wrist to wrist. Just to have them set up over here. 2 devices at the same time on 10 hertz or 40 hertz. That will enable you to take herbs during the day without any kind of problem with transfection. And I recommend, you taking cat's claw, astragalus, bee propolis, echinacea, golden seal root. You see that all over the place. You see them in Walmart. They advertise them. They even advertise them against cold and flu season. Green tea, dandelion root, been around forever. A lot of people don't know about dandelion root. The American Indians use this forever. And milk thistle. They use this. You know who uses milk thistle in the medical community for detoxer? In Europe. In the United States, they'll call it like snake oil. Well, they don't really say it's snake oil, but they don't prescribe it. But in Europe, man, they give it out like crazy. That's poison control centers, alcoholics and stuff. And if you got toxins from killing off virus, milk thistle will be good too. So this is my modified experiment thing. I would say, if you want to try this. And I would like this video to get around a little bit because I'm curious. The Beck Protocol is supposed to work against almost anything. I think that electrification thing does stun the virus temporarily on most of the viruses, so they can't infect cells. But the problem is you want to have a super immune system. And the problem is with using the 4 hertz setting, you can't take the herbs. But you use the 10 hertz and the 40 hertz. Maybe there's more herbs than this, but I think these are pretty safe ones, and I'll list them on the bottom.